Hey everyone, welcome back to my channel. If you're new here, my name is Victoria and today on my channel is What's Up Wednesday. And if you watched my other What's Up Wednesday, I reviewed the newest L'Oreal products, which were the Fresh Wear Foundation and then also the Infallible Full Wear Concealer. So I wanted to talk about this, but not in a concealer aspect. I wanted to talk about this as a eye primer, eyeshadow base primer, whatever you want to call it. I love this stuff. So I'm like obsessed with the MAC paint pot because I have discoloration, if you can see, on my eyelids, and then also too I have a lot of freckles. So I'm gonna zoom you in so you can see. So yeah, as you can see, I have a lot of freckles. Underneath this makeup, I do have a lot of freckles. If you watch my other tutorials, then you know that that's the truth. But on my lids, I never really get up close like this. I do have a bunch of freckles and I also have some, you know, like a little bit of discoloration, some veining that you can see. So what I felt that I've always needed is I always felt like I needed something to color correct and also something that would hold my shadows in place, because this eye right here, I have two different eye shapes. So one is a little bit more creased than the other. So this, I find on this eye that my eyeshadows would never stick. Like they would always start creasing or they would kind of just rub away. And I've been using the MAC paint pot for a really long time, but it is kind of pricey. So I'm gonna zoom you out just so we could talk about this. Okay, so now that you're back. So the MAC paint pot, which I have in soft ochre, is $22. And this L'Oreal Full Wear is $10. And you could also find it at Ulta, which you can apply coupons to. So you could probably get this for somewhere around like $6 or $7. Definitely worth it. With the MAC paint pots, I believe that they only have a few shades and a few shades that are skin toned. So this is soft ochre and it's a nice like yellow base eyeshadow primer, and I like this. It's very creamy when you first get it, but if you've used this before, then you know that after a while it does get really dry, and it's kind of like you may have wasted money if you did invest in this. It does last for a long time. It is one of the best primers out there. It really does hold your shadows in place and it does help color correct. However, it doesn't ever really fully color correct the situation that's going on unless I pack it on pretty thick. And then at that, it's going to have more of a yellow base to it. There's also the Painterly paint pot, which is more of a pinky tone, but again, it's going to look a little bit more pink on your eye. So what I like about the Full Wear concealer is that you can find this in your concealer shade, or you can find it in your shade that's closest to your skin tone. So that this way you get like a nice even base. It holds your eyeshadows in place all day. I'm not kidding you. Like for me personally, it holds it all day. So my last tutorial, that's what I use, and a couple of tutorials now I've been using that, and it works nicely with high-end shadows. It works nicely with drugstore palettes. So I use the Profusion palette, and in this video I'm going to do a mini tutorial just so you can see how it applies and everything. And what I think I'm going to do is I'm going to do one eye with the soft ochre paint pot and then one eye with the L'Oreal Full Wear. And another benefit to this, that you can carve out your brows with this. With the MAC paint pot, you can do that, but I feel like it does look a little bit dry. It is more of a drier formula as opposed to the concealers, because this is a creamy concealer, but it does set down pretty nicely once you set it. So in comparison, you can see that this one is a little bit more on the yellow side. This one's a little bit more of a softer yellow shade, but if I went up a shade, I could find a concealer that is my skin tone, which would be perfect. So what I'm gonna do now, I'm out of focus. So what I'm gonna do now is I'm gonna go ahead and get into the tutorial, and I will zoom you in. And like I said, on this side I'm gonna be using the MAC, and this side I'm going to be using the L'Oreal. And then I'm going to show you just a simple, easy look that you can do. And I'm probably going to use this to cover my lids and then also cut out the crease, which you can do with this, and it's hard and really difficult to do with the soft ochre paint pot. So let's get into it. Okay, so you're close. Now all I'm gonna do is I'm just gonna go ahead and apply this on to my lid. If I'm looking down, it's because my mirror is down here. As you can see, my brows are a little bit crazy because I need to get them done. So I just fill them in, but sometimes when they're a little bit thicker, it's harder to fill in to a nice shape. So what I'm gonna do is I'm going to use this concealer just to go ahead and carve out my brows. So I'll just go ahead and do that now. So as you can see, I already carved it out. It looks really nice. And then all I'm gonna do is I'm just gonna go ahead and use, you don't wanna use a thick amount, you wanna use a really nice, gentle, just really just one dot of that will kind of cover everything that you have going on here. And like I said, if this is too yellow for you or it's too bright right now, you can always go up a shade and find your shade that is your actual skin tone. So all I'm gonna do is I'm just gonna let this dry. And as you can see, when I pat it, it's not removing any, it's removing product on my finger, but it's just kind of setting it in place and it's not getting blotchy like some concealers would do. I have tried using the Tarte Shape Tape as an eyeshadow base and it just did not work for me. I don't know, it didn't hold what I needed. I think that has more of an oily base to it. So that's why it probably was like sliding around, especially in the eye that's a little bit more creased. So as you can see, like it just got rid of all of these freckles and everything like that. Now I'm gonna go ahead and use, just cleaning off this brush a little bit, and I'm just gonna go ahead and use the soft ochre paint pot on this side. And I'm just using a generous amount because on this side I really have to. But as you can see, just like applying it, it is really hard. It's kind of hard to work with as far as it not looking too patchy. And then if I wanted to go ahead and carve my eyebrows out, it just doesn't work well. It doesn't work how I would like for it to work. As far as carving out my brows, I always like to go in with a concealer if I can. Because this can either accentuate the hairs that are there or it just looks a lot more dry on the eyes. So I'm just gonna just rub this in. As you can see on this side, I hope you can see, I put a generous amount on there and you can see that I still see that freckle. On this side, you don't see anything at all. So I'm gonna go ahead and just pat this side, and I'm not sure if you could tell, but it does lift the product a little bit. So and once you pat it in, you do start to see all of the rest of my freckles and things like that are here. It just gives you a even base, but it really doesn't camouflage what this does. And I'm not sure if you could tell, but this side is a lot more dry looking than this side. This is very hydrated, but still at the same time, it dried down really nicely. This side is a little bit more lifted and yeah, it just looks a little drier. So, I mean, I'm not taking away from it. This has been my go-to for so many years. Excuse my hair, obviously, like always, it's a mess. But like I said, this side, it lifts a little bit. It looks dry in this area. I hope you could see. In this area right here, it's starting to get dry. On this side, it just looks really, really nice. So now let's get into the actual makeup application. So I'm just using my go-to brushes, and then I'm gonna go ahead and use Profusion MATTES palette. I love this palette. It's really nice, super diverse. You get a bunch of different matte eyeshadows, and yeah, but that's for another. That's in my last tutorial, which you guys should watch if you haven't. So I'm gonna go in with Adventurous on both eyes. I'm curious to see if it brings out the shadows a little bit more and a little differently. But for this side, I'm just gonna go ahead and pat this because I was getting a little bit creasing, but once you set it, it's gonna be fine. Okay, I'm not sure if you can notice, but I feel like this side and this side are two different shades. Okay, now under that, I'm gonna go in with Fearless. I'm gonna go in with Madly all over the lid because I kind of want it to be like a little bit of a smoked look. And then for a pop of color, I'm going in with this Hard Candy palette, and I think I'm gonna go in with this berry tone color right here, just so it ties into the look. So it is a bit dark, so I'm just gonna go in with the shade right here as well. So now I'm just gonna go ahead and finish up the lower lash line and add some mascara, and I will be back so that we can look at them both together and see which one you like better. And you're gonna leave me a comment down below and let me know which one you guys like better. So let me just finish up and I'll be right back. Just gotta add some gloss. But yeah, so now that this is, you know, my tutorial is done and you can see the eye look, I really honestly think that they both blend out really perfectly. So this is 22, this is 10, you know, you can get it for cheaper if you wanted to. I know I had mentioned that I wanted to do a cut crease, but I ended up not doing that. So I wanted to just show you here. So basically this is gonna be the dark shadow that I use. And then I'm gonna go ahead and use the concealer. As you can see, it's not changing the concealer in any way to a different color. It's just pretty much laying on top and cutting the crease perfectly. And then let me show you how difficult it is, honestly, to do it with the MAC paint pot. Same thing, same product. I'm gonna go ahead and add more just so you don't think I'm using like a little bit. The top is the concealer, the bottom is the MAC paint pot. So you can see how it turned this a little bit more pink, and this again is pretty much the same tone of the concealer. So with that being said, guys, I hope that you enjoyed this What's Up Wednesday and you are able to grab this and try it out. Let me know in the comments down below, like I said, if you've tried it out and how much you like it, if you like it. And don't forget to subscribe and join the Glam Fam if you are new here. And thank you again if you are not and you are returning and watching my videos and leaving me comments down below, liking the videos. Love you guys. So with that being said, guys, I am gonna check out there and I will see you on the next one. Peace.